able to come, and so I'm starting a recorder right now on just the part of this that I'm going to cover today, which is the syllabus. All right, so let me make sure that I have a marker up that I can mark things with. Okay, there's my marker. All right, so if you've shown up for the right class, of course you're in DFTG 1405. And DFTG 1405 is the first CAD course at Austin Community College, and it's also the first technical drawing course. And so the assumption in this class is that you don't know how to do anything regarding technical drawing and you don't know anything about CAD. So if that's where you are at this stage, you're in the perfect spot because we don't expect you to know anything. If you know something, that might be helpful. It just depends on how you were taught to use CAD and what you know, and whether you were taught things about technical drawing that are really valid for industry, right? So in Blackboard, which is how we're going to deliver this course, there is a link that will take you to this syllabus that I'm showing you right now. And in the syllabus, let me see if I can get my cursor to show up here. The synonym for this class is this 19083. When you hand in a drawing to me in CAD, you're going to be writing that number in. And so I'll refer back to that in a few weeks when we get to the point where you're really starting to hand in drawings. And then the section number for this course is the 007. And what I intend to do is hold these live Google meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 12:40. We won't always go to 12:40, but I'll be online at 11 o'clock and I can help you with any questions that you might have or anything like that. I also can meet you in Google meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 1 and 2:30 if you need to meet outside of class. And so those actually are going to be what I would call my office hours this semester, that we would set something up to meet. We would do a Google Meet. It's possible in the Google Meet that you can share your screen with me so I can see what you're doing and give you advice on, what you might be doing wrong or why things aren't working. Pardon me. The estimated time commitment in a 12-week course for this class is approximately 6 to 8 hours a week, including these live online meetings. And so that's a pretty big commitment. And it's especially a big commitment if you're not a disciplined enough person that after class you can go away and work on your own, because that's what it's going to require to be successful in this class is, come to the online meeting if you can. If you can't come to it, you need to watch the video of the online meeting that I'll post in Blackboard. It's probably best to attend the live meeting if you can. And then there's almost always going to be work for you to do outside of class. And in a normal semester, that would be the lab part of this class, and you would be doing that in a classroom with me walking around helping you. Well, we don't have that luxury now. But we do have the luxury, we don't have to drive and commute and do all that other stuff. So there's this kind of a trade-off here. But it's going to be really important that you communicate with me if you don't understand what's going on in the class or you have questions with an assignment. It's going to be important that you don't just go silent and dark. And I don't know that you're having problems until it's too late. Okay, so stay in touch with me. Pardon me. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. I haven't been talking a bunch because I've been on Christmas break like you guys have, and so I'm going to get my voice warmed up again. There are no formal prerequisites for this course, but I always say a burning desire to learn how to create great technical drawings would be useful, okay? So I ask you to reply back to an email I sent and tell me a little bit about why you're here and and what you want to learn, why you might want to take this class. So what I thought I would show you is just going to sketch something real quick, and what I'm going to draw here, and I'm drawing with my mouse, and I'm not good with drawing with a mouse. I apologize that I can't draw better than what I do with my mouse here. But I'm going to make a little sketch here. We call this thing a bracket. And what I've sketched on here is actually a technical drawing. And the reason it's a technical drawing is that if you and I were working for a company and we were designing something and we needed to design this bracket, we might start by making a sketch that looks like this. And then both of us could start to talk about the features that this bracket needs to have. And we might decide, oh, you know, we ought to have a mounting hole over here. We ought to have a mounting hole over here. And then we might say, well, what would the diameter of that mounting hole be? We might sketch out a leader and we might say, well, let's see, we make that diameter 0.25 inches. All right. Again, I apologize for not being able to sketch with my mouse very well, but I will do some sketching that I'll project using a pencil later in the course. But like I said, this is an example of a technical drawing right here. Now, what you would do next, probably, if you decided that you were going to actually build this part, is you would draw just the front view of that object. Just like if you were looking straight on in this direction right here, and draw what you would see. So if I sketch that hole, and then I sketch those two small holes up here in the corner, of course they would be round, this would represent the front view. And this is also a technical drawing. Now, the difference is this one is called an orthographic multi-view drawing, and this one over here is called an isometric drawing. Isometric drawings generally run at 30-degree angles when we sketch along these receding lines right here, where when we draw a multi-view drawing, we're looking straight on at our object. Now, the other thing we might add to this is we might add a center line or center point for that circle or that hole. We could also extend those lines out and extend these lines up right here. And now we've added center lines to it. We could do the same thing on these holes that we have here. We could put center lines in. Because actually when the person who makes this part drills those holes, they'll need to know where the centers of those holes are located, and they will need to know what the diameters of those holes are. So this is what a technical drawing is like. It gives information about the features of a part, and it could also give information about the features of a house that you're building, or a building that you're making, or a road that you're putting in, or anything else. All of that qualifies as technical drawing. Okay? So a good technical drawing has everything necessary to make the object. So that's always your goal when you're making a technical drawing, at least in my view of it, is that you're thinking, you know, am I getting my ideas across to whoever's going to use this drawing so that they can build the part or understand what it looks like, or they could maybe fix a component or whatever, however they're going to use this technical drawing. There's a lot of ways you could use a technical drawing. Now, I'm going to add a couple of other things to my technical drawing here. I'm going to bring a straight line up and a straight line right here, and I'm going to put an arrowhead on a line and put an arrowhead over here. And I'm going to write in a number, 1.00. Okay, so what this represents on my technical drawing is a dimension. And a dimension tells me where the center of this hole is located relative to this edge of the part. It's over 1.00 inches. And so the inch is right here, 1 inch. The first digit right here that we have, this is tenths of an inch, and this is 1/100ths of an inch. So we're actually measuring to within 1/100th of an inch to how far apart that this edge is to the center of that hole right there. We could come in over here and add another dimension. And let's say that it's also 1.00. We could come on here and put a leader like this, and we could say that the diameter of this hole, and that's the symbol for diameter, by the way, is 1.50. All right. So little by little, we would keep adding dimensions to our drawing, and we would eventually completely detail this thing out where we would have enough information that we could make it. Now I want to show you something else about this front view. Probably what you would draw to the left or the right of it is the side view. And the side view would be the place where we would come in and put a dimension, and we would say how thick this material is right here. So let's say we say that this material is 0.38, for example. Now I wouldn't crowd all that stuff together, but now we've added another view. So we have a front view and we have a left side view of our object. Now we know there's a hole that goes through this part. And if I go to the top of the hole and I project across over here and I draw a couple of dashed lines, those represent the top edge of this hole. And if I come over here and I draw a couple of dashed lines, I don't want them to stick out into space, but that represents the side of the hole at the bottom where that hole goes through. I could even project that center mark through there like that. So I have a center line running through. And so now I can see the side. I would also add the hidden lines for these smaller holes that go across up here. And I would have a center line that goes through on those. And of course, I would still need to add all the dimensions for these two holes here. So, you know, that's kind of a simple look at what a technical drawing is. And so if you are thinking about this as a career, then think like that, that what you're trying to learn to do is make these drawings for whatever field you go into, whether it's architecture, mechanical, this would be mechanical, by the way, civil, electronics, that you're going to try to learn to make those drawings that other people can use to manufacture the part, to build the road, to construct the house, whatever it is, and that you want to give them enough information that they can actually go out and build it. Does anybody have a question or comment or anything they want to make? Okay, well, we'll go to the next slide then. So the next slide talks about the mandatory orientation, and you are in the mandatory orientation if you're here today. So I'm going to conduct these live online meetings on Mondays and Wednesdays, and whenever possible, I'm going to record those videos and I'll post them in Blackboard. Now, if you've never used Blackboard, I'm going to get into that a little bit later and show you what it looks like for this course. But all the materials for the assignments and things like that, for the most part, are in Blackboard. There's also a textbook for the course, and I'm going to talk about that. So the required textbook, I'm holding it up right here, is called Technical Drawing. Oh, let's see. You're asking, is it Mondays or Wednesdays or Tuesdays? Let me go back to this. Oh, that's weird. I think I have the wrong PowerPoint open. I'm teaching this class on Mondays and Wednesdays. This is the Tuesday, Thursday class. Now, I don't know that I have the wrong PowerPoint open. Let me go back to here and see what yeah, I say Tuesday and Thursdays. Anyway, I copied, the two PowerPoints. So yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, this is a Tuesday, Thursday class. Now, that said, I think I have a couple of people who are in my Monday, Wednesday class who can't attend on Monday, Wednesday, so they're going to be attending on Tuesday, Thursday. So they're welcome to attend too. And you guys are welcome to attend other live sessions that other professors are putting on. And an email went out yesterday that had a table on it that gave the links to all the other Google meetings of other faculty members. So you're welcome to go watch somebody else's video as well, or I'm sorry, presentation as well. All right, so let's go back to the textbook. We're using this book called Technical Drawing 101 with AutoCAD 2021. Now, the version of AutoCAD that is current right now is called AutoCAD 2021. And to give you an idea, AutoCAD came out about 1985. And so they're up to the point now where they're just calling their new versions, they just name it by the year. And the latest version of the software that's come out is AutoCAD 2021. And when you go to the Autodesk website and download AutoCAD on your computer at home, you're going to be downloading AutoCAD 2021. So the other day I had a student ask me if they could use the book for AutoCAD 2017, and I recommended that they not do that. And the reason for that is, first off, the assignments are not all, they won't all line up. The page numbers won't line up, and the software is not going to look exactly the same. They have definitely made changes in AutoCAD. They generally make a few changes every year. Sometimes they're big changes, sometimes they're not that big. But if you have not purchased the book, you should buy the 2021 book. Now, that can be ordered through the ACC bookstore. And in the emails that I sent earlier, and also in Blackboard, you can see the link for that. And I don't know how long it's going to take the bookstore to get this book to you, because the bookstore is operating virtually right now. And so they have to ship the book to your home. You can also order the book through Amazon. Pardon me. Does anybody have any experience with buying the book that they want to tell us about? Like, did you get it quickly from somewhere or anything like that? Anybody have any input? In how many days? Okay, okay, great, good. Well, I'm glad that it came that quickly. If you order it through Amazon or somewhere like that, you might be able to get it for less, but if it doesn't arrive for 2 weeks, it's not going to be a very good thing. You need to get the book right away. We'll actually have a reading assignment tonight, and I know that some of you don't have the book, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the reading in Blackboard for now, so you'll be able to read it, but I'm not going to post every reading for the rest of the semester in Blackboard. I'll post them for a few classes, because I know it's going to take a while for some of you to get the book in. All right. The other materials that I think are really helpful to have in this class are some technical pencils. At least one. What I recommend, I don't know if y'all can see me on the side of your screen there, I'm holding up a 0.9 millimeter technical pencil. I'm sorry, 0.7 is what this one is. This is a 0.9, and what that refers to is how wide the text is, the diameter of of the lead in the pencil. And what I use is a Pentel P207. That's the 0.7 millimeter, or the Pentel P209. They're not very expensive. You can order them almost anywhere, like Office Depot. You could even go in there and buy them if you wanted to. The thing about them is they're a decent pencil. You can press hard on it. It has a little eraser on the end. But a cheap mechanical pencil is not a good investment. So it's probably worthwhile to order something decent. You can keep it forever as long as you don't lose it. So I would recommend getting one of those for when we're sketching in the class. Somebody is writing here, Jacob got a digital copy of the textbook. That's fine too. Do you have a printer, Jacob, at home? I don't know if he heard me. Jacob, do you have a printer? The reason I'm asking about that is that there are some tear-out sheets at the back of this book, and there's some grids and some drawing sheets that if you have the physical book, you're going to tear those out and draw on those. And in fact, next week we're going to be there's some gridded sheets. If you look at the very back pages, you'll see those. We're going to be drawing multi-view projects on those gridded sheets. So if you buy the ebook, you're going to need to print those and then draw them at home. Okay, so just be aware of that if you buy that, if you buy the ebook. The other thing is that I've had students who had the ebook, and during class they tried to read it on a phone. And what we're dealing with here are drawings, and when they're that small, it's awfully hard to see what's going on. So make sure that you're able to see your ebook on a monitor. And I'm going to talk in a minute about what I recommend is having 2 monitors. I think that's the best way to handle this course. Now, you should also have a highlighter. And the reason for that is that when we start creating drawings that have dimensions on them, we want to go through and highlight as we add each feature and we add each dimension, we want to make sure that we include everything on our drawing. And this is typical in a engineering or an architectural office to use highlighters. The people who check your drawings are going to be marking stuff up. We even mark stuff up digitally in yellow or pink or red. So, all right. So let's talk about the technology requirements for the class. You will need to download the free version of AutoCAD 2021, and that's available from the company called Autodesk. Autodesk right here, this is the company that creates AutoCAD software. And they make a lot of other softwares that you can download for free, but you don't need those yet. You'll need them next semester if you take more advanced courses. You may need to download Revit or Inventor or Civil 3D or something like that. For now, though, and for this class, you need to get AutoCAD 2021 downloaded and installed. And it's free, but they do expect you to make an account with them and register with them, and you need to use your ACC email address. Now, one of the things they're probably going to ask you to do is to verify that you actually are a student. And so we have tried to make that easy for you in our department, and our tech support guys have set up a verification system. And if you click where it says click here, well, actually, when you get into Blackboard, you should be able to click here for more information. The link works in Blackboard. The other thing that you're going to need is a high-speed internet connection. All of this is recommended by our tech support team. Now, the computer hardware requirements. What we recommend is that when you go to the Autodesk Student Community's website and you look at downloading AutoCAD 2021, it's going to give you the minimums that they suggest that you have. And what we find is that if your computer is more powerful, that's better, because later on you might download computer software that needs faster processing speed or more memory or whatever. But make sure you can at least meet the AutoCAD 2021. Now, AutoCAD 2021 runs on the Windows operating system. It doesn't run on Chromebook. And if you're a Mac user, you need to install Apple Boot Camp or Parallels and in order to run AutoCAD 2021. Okay. There is a Mac version of it, but it definitely looks different than regular AutoCAD for the PC. But I've had students use the Mac version and they've done fine. So it's possible to do it. It's just a little more complicated. Now, we recommend this dual monitor display setup. All right. So if you've never used two monitors before, you're going to really like it once you get used to it, because you could have Word open on one screen and you could have YouTube open on the other screen, or you could be copy and pasting between a Word document and a PowerPoint or whatever it is. It's very handy to have two. Yeah, somebody's just writing, hard to go back after you had multiple screens. It absolutely is. And I think the sign of a true nerd is the number of computer monitors that you have. Now, if you have a laptop, for example, your laptop screen could be one of the screens, and then you just need to go out and buy one more screen that you could plug into your laptop. You usually have to have some kind of a HDMI cord to plug in between your laptop and your computer monitor. I've had students, they go to Discount Electronics, which sells a lot of times salvaged or used equipment. You could even buy a monitor through Discount Electronics if you're trying to save some money. It's like somebody says you could use a TV, right? If your TV can work as a monitor, you can use your TV. You can even broadcast to your TV. There's lots of ways to do this, but I highly recommend it, okay? So here's my setup at home. Where I'm sitting right now, this is what I'm seeing, is these two monitors. And you can see my laptop, which is right down here, and that's driving both of these monitors. And I've got a scanner over here, and the microphone I'm using is set up over here. Here's my mouse. You need a mouse. I was working with a woman last semester, and she was presenting her screen to me, and it was the slowest, most agonizing thing I'd ever seen to watch her draw. And I told her to double click on something, and she said she didn't have a mouse. And so all semester long, she had been trying to make all these drawings without a mouse. That's terrible. It's really hard to do. So go out and invest in a mouse. I'll loan you the money if you need it. Okay. You really need a mouse because it's going to make everything go so much faster than trying to draw with your finger on a laptop pad, right? Now, the reason why I think it's a good idea to have it is this. This is Blackboard that I'm showing over here. And you can see I have a drawing, I have a sketch, and you can see there's some dimensions on here. And over here on this side, I have AutoCAD. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a 3D model of this part, but I'm using the dimensions that are over here. And so this is really great if you can look on one screen and get information and go work, especially with AutoCAD on the other one. The main reason I think it's really important to have is because in this class, we have made over 100 videos to help you create all the drawings that you're going to do in this course. And there aren't 100 drawings that you're going to do in this course, but some of the drawings may have 3 videos that we broke them down into like 15-minute sections or something like that. And what we recommend that you do is that you have the video open on one screen, and that you play the video and watch us draw something and then pause it and then go over to the other screen where you have AutoCAD open, and then you try to do what you just saw. And if you need to, you can go back to the video, rewind it for a few seconds, play it again. If something doesn't work for you on your screen, watch what we're doing and then go back and work on it. This is how you're going to survive in an online drafting and CAD course. You know, before COVID hit, we never, ever tried to teach DFTG 1405 online because it's tough to do this without having an instructor right there with you to help you out. But we have found by making all these videos that we've made that students have been very successful at doing this. But if you don't have 2 monitors, what you're going to have to do is watch the video for a few seconds and then close or minimize the video, maximize AutoCAD, try to remember what you just saw, draw it, close that, open the video again. So we're just saying, you know, if you're really serious about doing this, I highly recommend 2 monitors at least. And if you stay in our program and you take future classes, it's going to help you throughout all of that. So email is the principal way that I'm going to communicate with you, and I'm going to communicate with you through your ACC email account. That is necessary. I'm required by the college to interact with you through your ACC email account. So you need to be sure that you're checking your ACC email, okay? And so you can set that up at ACC if you haven't set it up already. Also, all of the handouts and assignments and instructional videos and submission of assignments and grading is going to be handled through Blackboard. And like I said, I'll show you that here in just a few minutes, but you're going to need to get set up with Blackboard if you're not already. Once you're set up with it, you just click on this course name and it's going to open it up for you. So we'll get into that in a second. When you open Blackboard though, over here on the left-hand side of your screen, once you open Blackboard, you're going to see a bunch of links. And so there's the link right there for the syllabus and the textbook. And the first assignment is actually going to be in Chapter 1. So you'll be able to click on the Chapter 1 assignment. And so, like I said, I'll get into this a little bit more later, but this is called the left navigation of Blackboard. So all your links are going to be on there. Now, we're going to have like 10 chapters that we're going to do. But when you log in tonight or today, all you're going to be able to see is the link for Chapter 1, because I'm not going to put all of those up for you to have to look at right now. I'm just going to keep it to what we're working on. All right. So all you're going to see is Chapter 1 for tonight. And so it won't be that confusing for you. All right, so if you go to the ACC website and you click on, there's a button there for students. You click on that, it's going to take you to a page where you can set up your Google Mail. It will give you the Blackboard link, and then also all of this is based on an ACC electronic ID or EID. So you probably already have your EID. Hopefully you know what your EID number is. It should be in any correspondence or anything when you registered for ACC. You should be able to see it. If you have an ACC ID, it's on there. But whenever you log in, you're going to be asked for your ACC EID, and that's what they're asking about there. All right, so I'm going to skip through this part. This talks about the learning outcomes for the course. I'm going to let you guys read through all those when you have the time to do that, because all this is going to unfold. But if you were to read through that, you're going to see where we're going with the course. And so what I want to tell you is, though, we're going to start out real basic. And by the time we end the class, we'll be creating 3D models, and we'll be using engineering standards, and you'll be able to, at the very end of the course, choose between drawing a capstone project that's either architectural or mechanical in nature. Okay, and I'll talk about how that affects your grade here in just a second. All right, so here's the grading. In this course, we're going to do a bunch of daily work drawings, and those are going to account for 70% of your total grade for the course. So it's actually possible, if you do well on all of those daily work assignments, like if you have an A on all your daily work assignments, that at the end of that, I could actually give you a C for the course because you've earned 70% of your grade right there. So if you're happy with a C, you know, you and I could agree that you've done well enough and you could get a C for the course. Now, like I said, you need to do well on all those daily work projects in order to qualify for the C. Most students, though, are going to go ahead and do the capstone project. And the capstone project is a large project that we do at the end of the class. And it's either going to be a mechanical working project or an architectural working project. And that's how you can earn 30% more. So this is, if you want to make an A in the course, you're going to have to do the capstone project, and you're going to have to do well on it, well enough that you get enough points to raise your grade all the way up to an A. Now, it's possible that you can make a B if you don't do great on the capstone project, but this is how you earn more than a C in the course. Okay? So grades on projects work like this: 90 to 100 an A, so on like that, just these 10-point breakdowns. Anything less than 60 is an F. Now, let me tell you about in the Architectural and Engineering Computer-Aided Design department, which is where you're taking this class from. If you earn a D in this course at the end, a D, you cannot move forward in the department. You have to make a C or above in order to progress in our program. We don't accept Ds. All right, so just keep that in mind. Instructors may impose a late penalty that is submitted after an assigned due date. And so what that means is I may assign a drawing and tell you that this drawing needs to be submitted within 1 week by 11 o'clock in the morning. And if it comes in after that date, I may say it's going to be 10 points off. And that's perfectly all right to do. I mean, you know, it's legal. And so anyway, just to let you know that the policy on late or missing work is that instructors in our program can impose a late penalty for late work. The main reason we put times, like impose a due date, is just to keep the course moving and not to let students get behind. That's one of the things. And the other reason is that when you go to work for somebody in an engineering or an architectural office, they're very strict about telling you this project needs to be finished by this date. And if it's not finished by that date, it's probably not going to be a good thing for you and your career. So this is another way just to help you prepare for a career. Okay, the withdrawal policy is the last day you can withdraw for this course is March the 22nd. And if there's any change of that, I'll let you know. Because we're teaching this in 12 weeks rather than the 16 weeks, the college has been a little weird about giving us an actual withdrawal date. So if I find out it's something different than the 22nd, I'll let you know. But the last I heard, that's what I was told. Okay, I'm not going to go into the incomplete policy very deep, but just to let you know that it's possible to take an incomplete in the course, but that would only be if at the very end of the course, you get sick or somebody in your family gets sick or something fairly catastrophic happens that would qualify you to take an incomplete. The reason why we want you to complete the course, A, is so you can move on and take another course. And B is if you take an incomplete and you don't finish the course, that incomplete becomes an F. And so it doesn't help you out anyway. And the other thing is that because you have to use Blackboard to access the course, the following semester, a lot of times ACC closes Blackboard for the course that you were in the previous semester. So it's difficult for you to get the materials that you need. So anyway, we can talk about an incomplete if you need one for, the real reasons, let's put it that way. Okay, now academic integrity refers to the cheating policy. And so I just want to point out that in this course, because we use computer files, it's pretty easy to take somebody else's computer file and put your name on it and submit it as your work. And doing that is considered cheating in this department. And if you're caught cheating, a lot of bad things can happen, all right? And these are a list of some of the things that can happen. And I'm just warning anybody that, might be tempted to submit work that's not their own, that it's a bad idea. The faculty in our department are experts at technical drawing, and there's a lot of ways you can get caught cheating, okay, if you submit someone else's work. So just keep that in mind. There's no upside to submitting work that's not your own. It's better to take the late penalty than to be caught in a cheating thing. I'll tell you another reason why students, shouldn't get caught in an academic integrity situation. If you go through our program and then you're looking for a job, you might want to use the faculty here to give you a recommendation for a job. And so people that have been caught cheating have a very difficult time getting a recommendation for the job. Okay, so like earlier today, I've already had an email from someone who is applying for a scholarship at ACC, and I had this student in 1405 last semester, and they're asking me to write a recommendation for them for this scholarship. And of course, this was a good student. They didn't cheat and didn't get caught doing anything, so I don't have any problem writing that letter. So I just want to point that out to you, that mainly I don't want to have to deal with it. It's very unpleasant. And as the department chair, especially, I have to enforce a lot of stuff on people that get caught doing this. So I would rather not have to deal with that. All right. Tutoring. We are going to have online tutoring labs, and the tutoring is free. And once it gets up and running, it's going to be 7 days a week. All right. So you'll be able to share your screen with a tutor, and the tutor can help you out. This is another reason why nobody really has to submit the work somebody else did, because you can always get tutoring. So when you log into Blackboard, you're going to see a link that says Get Help Now, Tutor Link. When you click on that, it's going to take you to a page that will show you the name of the tutor, like in this case, Joseph. And Joseph can help you with 1405. Each one of our tutors tells you what they can help you with, and it will give you the day and the time that Joseph is available. So if you log in during the time when Joseph is available and you click on this button right here, it's going to take you to a meeting with Joseph, and Joseph, and you can talk and you can share screens, and he can help you out with any questions that you have. Joseph is, by the way, this just give you an idea of who our tutors are. Joseph is a graduate of our department who just finished his architecture degree at a university, and now he's starting his master's degree in architecture, and he's already working for an architectural firm, but he also, a few hours a week, he works for our program as a tutor. And so generally the people we choose to be our tutors are like exemplary students or former students who can help you out with most of the problems that you're having. All right, so the class calendar looks something like this. Class 1 through 19 will be working on daily work activities. And classes 20 through 24 is when you'll be working on your capstone project. Now, these are approximate times, but because this is a 12-week course and we meet twice a week, there are 24 classes, if you want to look at this as a class. So that's kind of what we're looking at for the breakdown of what we'll be doing in the course. Now, ACC is going to have a spring break, and I wasn't sure about this. Nobody was really, but I think ACC has decided to have a spring break, so we will have a break in March, and which is hard to imagine that it was last spring break is the last time we were face-to-face with our students in class, because that's when we went online, or the week after spring break, we went totally online with all of our courses. Okay, does anybody have any questions they want to ask right now about the first part of the syllabus? Okay, so I'm going to go pretty quickly through this next part right here. So as I said, this is the Architectural and Engineering Computer-Aided Design program at ACC. That's what you're enrolled in right now. And that program offers Associate of Applied Science degrees, and it offers certificates in computer-aided design. And it has specialized Associate of Applied Science degrees. We have an AAS degree in Architectural CAD, Civil CAD, Mechanical CAD, Electronics CAD, and then each of those degrees has a certificate that accompanies it. So you generally would earn the certificate before you earn the degree. All of the classes in the certificate can be applied to the degree. All right, so in case you didn't know about that, and you can also earn more than one degree if you want to. That's something a lot of students don't realize. So it's getting more common now for a student, let's say they earn the architectural CAD degree, and then they look at the civil degree plan and they realize they only need like 5 more courses. So they finish those 5 courses, get the Civil CAD degree, then they can job hunt in either Architectural CAD or Civil CAD. The other thing about taking these classes is at the very end of your training here, if you go through one of our degree plans, is you will create a portfolio of your work, and you can use this portfolio when you go out and apply for jobs. So I'm actually going to show you some examples of things, including some student work. Now, the first certificate plan that we offer begins by taking 1405. And that's the course you're in right now, because in 1405, you're going to learn AutoCAD. And then in the second semester, I've lost my mouse again, there we go. In the second semester, if you take DFTG 1433, which is a mechanical class that uses Inventor, if you took DFTG 2430, which is a civil course, which uses Civil 3D, and if you took DFTG 2431, which is an architectural course which uses Revit, you could actually earn a certificate called the CAD Foundation Certificate, because you will, by that point, have used AutoCAD, Inventor, Civil 3D, and Revit. So those are 4 principal CAD programs that are used here in the Austin area. This is an example of the kinds of drawings that if you go into architectural CAD in this department, that would be in your portfolio. Now, these drawings, this drawing right here was made using Revit, which is a architectural CAD program. Here's another example. This was made in the 1433 class. This is using Inventor. This is a design project that we give our students in 1433. So this is actually the design for a drafting table that was made by a student. And the parameter of the design was that all you could use to design your table was one 4-foot by 8-foot sheet of plywood. So that begins by making sketches. So here's the sketches that the student was making. And then eventually they create their design, create a 3D model of it in Inventor, and then they create each of the separate parts and they put the whole thing together. So that gives you an idea of what you do in 1433. This drawing, this is an example of a civil drawing. This was done in 2430. This is a course you can take next semester after you take 1405. This is a course you can take next semester after you've taken 1405 too. I didn't say that. And then that first course right here, this is a course you can take next semester after you've taken 1405. So by taking these 3 classes, you could qualify for your first certificate. Now, if you wanted to get an architectural CAD associate degree, you would need to take 1405, which is what you're in now. And then next semester, you could take 1417, which is residential drafting. You could take 2431, which is this advanced technologies and architectural drafting. That's where you use Revit. Architecture 1417 uses AutoCAD, the software that you're going to learn this semester. And then you could also take the mechanical CAD and the CivilCAD, and then the next semester, you would start taking more advanced architectural courses. All right. You can actually postpone taking these classes until your last semester because the mechanical and civil courses are not prerequisites for the advanced architectural courses that follow. Now, if you want to see this architectural CAD specialization, I've put all of our advising guides in Blackboard, and I'll point those out to you in just a little while. I was talking about those portfolios a minute ago. This is an example of a drawing that a student might have in their portfolio when they graduate with the architectural CAD degree. This is an example of something from the portfolio. This is an example. So, and everything that I'm showing you here, every drawing was created by a student in the Architectural Engineering CAD department here at ACC. So on Friday, I'm going to be we're going to have the orientation for 2 portfolio classes. So what happens is at the very end of the degree, pardon me, or the certificate, if you're only going for the certificate, you would enroll for the portfolio class and you would work with the faculty to develop your portfolio. We also help you develop a resume, references, and we also give you help with job interviewing and job hunting and things like that. So this is the certificate in architectural CAD right here. And so of course you're in 1405. These are those 2 architecture courses that I showed you in the second semester that were back in the degree right here. And then these are the courses in the third semester to finish the certificate in architectural CAD. All of the courses in the certificate apply to the degree, and that's why I was saying that most students get the certificate before they get the degree. All right. If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and hop in, or send me a chat, put something in the chat window. I apologize, I kind of have my window a little bit smaller over here where I'm projecting, so that I may be missing some of your chat. Okay, so there's a CivilCAD associate degree. These are examples of drawings that you might do in civil. This is a topographical drawing. This is a new piece of road where there's a cul-de-sac right down here, and this is a road in a new neighborhood. And actually what you're seeing right here is the side view of that road. Okay, so the way you'd interpret this is when you're in the cul-de-sac, you would be driving in this area right here, and you're actually driving downhill when you're in this area right in here. And then as you drive through this area here, the terrain starts to rise back up. So you're actually going uphill as you get over here into this area here. You're actually moving uphill. So this is an example of civil. There have been so many jobs in CivilCAD that there's been plenty of times when we just did not have enough students trained up to fill the number of CivilCAD jobs. And that's also been true sometimes in architecture and occasionally in mechanical and electrical too. But civil is a huge field for employment in the Austin area because it's growing so fast. This is the civil certificate. And some students, they'll job hunt after they get the certificate because they can put together a portfolio with the courses from the certificate. It won't be as good of a portfolio as what you would get when you've completed the entire degree. It won't be as complete, but it's still a decent portfolio. ElectronicCAD, let me show you what ElectronicCAD looks like. This is an example of an integrated circuit. We have examples of printed circuit boards, and we have examples from our electronic drafting course, like schematic capture software. So ACC is one of the few departments in the entire country that teaches students to design integrated circuits, printed circuits, and things like that. And actually, companies from all over the United States recruit our students here at ACC to go to work in electronics because this is one of the few places you can learn to do this. This is an example from the portfolio of a student of an integrated circuit layout. And this is an example from the portfolio of a printed circuit board. We also have a certificate in integrated circuit layout and design. And again, all the courses on the certificate are in the degree. And we have a mechanical CAD associate degree. These are examples of portfolio work from our mechanical students. So you can see, what it is you would take out to show an employer. And, I'll show you this particular student right here. We teach computer-aided manufacturing. We use CNC mills and lathes and things like that to make parts. And what this student did is he took a picture showing just a blank piece of metal, and then he puts that in a lathe and he turns it on the lathe and he changes the diameter of it. He puts it in a mill, and using the operations in the mill, by the time he's finished, that piece of metal over here looks like this over here. And he's put a quarter in here to give you an idea of the scale of things. So he actually put this in his portfolio so he could go to a job interview and say, here are the steps that I did to create this part. Now, every part begins with a drawing. So he also had the drawings for this part right here that you see right here. He had drawings showing the views with the diameters of all those holes and the locations of all those holes and everything else. This former student right here is actually a mechanical engineer now, and he lives in Seattle, and he works for a company that designs ski equipment, like ski boots, skis, that sort of thing. And he sent me a picture several times of him on a ski slope testing the new equipment. And he seems pretty happy. All right. We also have this certificate in mechanical aided or computer aided design, computer aided manufacturing, what we call CAD CAM. And this is where you learn to use these machines right here. And our program, when we open back up, when COVID is under control, our program is at the Highland campus. And we just moved into our new place at the Highland campus. And we have a manufacturing lab that is filled with CAD CAM machines. And in fact, we have 9 big computer-aided manufacturing mills. We have several lathes. We've got 3D printers. We have laser cutters. So when you get if you were to come into this program, if you were interested in manufacturing, you'd be able to use all of that equipment when we get to the point where we can get back into the on campus and work on campus. And like last week, I got the first vaccination, so I'm kind of I'm getting optimistic about the opportunity to get back in. Now, one of the last things I want to show you, though, is that our department also offers a degree in architecture. This is different than architectural CAD. This is for students who want to take these courses in architecture and then apply at an architecture school and try to get accepted to architecture school and get a degree in architecture. So these are not CAD-based courses for the most part. And you can see we have an architectural graphics class, and this is a lot of freehand drawing and things like that. We have Introduction to Architecture. We have Design, Architectural Design 1, Architectural History, Architectural Graphics, Arch Design 2, Arch Design 3, and Architectural Design 4. All these courses are taught by architects. And I think every one of the architects who works for us is a licensed architect in the state of Texas, and all of them have master's degrees in architecture. And so if you decide to go this route, this is what the degree plan looks like. Now, one thing I should tell you about this is, like I said, there's no CAD in this. This is to prepare you to go off to architecture school. So at the end of this 2 years, you can't go to an architectural firm and market yourself and try to get a job and say, hey, I'm a CAD technician. I can draw stuff for you. Where if you did the architecture AAS degree, that's what you could do. So I just want to point out the differences in that to you. This is an example, though, of some work done by students in our architecture program. And so most of these students are trying to build a portfolio that would help them get into architecture school. And so they do a lot of sketching. This is a design for a doghouse. This is also a design for a doghouse. That was one of the design projects that they were given. And you can see how, the stylized sort of drafting work they've done here. This is not CAD work. This is all done by hand and colored pencils. All right. Then we build a lot of models in the architecture program, because when you go to architecture school, you'll build a lot of models. So this is when you take Arch Design 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're going to be expected to make sketches and then to build models. And what you'll do is you'll take photos of those models and you'll include them in your portfolio. And I'll show you all in some class that's coming up. I had a student create a portfolio for architecture school last semester, and it is amazing. I have to show it to you. I'll do that later on. But it was just an amazing portfolio that he submitted to architecture school. All right. So each of our programs has an advisor. And so you would have a faculty advisor if you decide to go into one of these programs. And so if you let me know later on that you've decided to do architectural CAD or CivilCAD or whatever, I will give you the information so that you can get in touch with your faculty advisor. Like I said, I'm the department chair, and so I don't do all the advising. What I would do is send you to the advisor for the architectural CAD so that you have somebody that you can go to with questions about the program. At the end of your training, when you apply for the degree, I'm the person who generally signs off on your degree, and I teach the portfolio class. So it's funny because I teach the beginner class and I teach the last class, and that's how important we feel like this very first course is to you guys. We want to, everybody we put in teaching the 1405 classes is very good at what they do, and there's a reason for that. We want y'all to have a great experience in your very first course. And so that, you learn a lot about this field, and then you can make decisions about, do you want to stick into this field? And so one of the things that I always include is kind of the cost. If you've never looked at the cost of getting an associate degree from ACC, if you live in district, the total cost for tuition and fees is $5,200, and the certificates will run about $3,000. And I can tell you, this is a great deal. ACC's done a really good job of keeping the tuition cost low. This would be like one semester at UT, $5,200. So anyway, if you're interested, you can talk to me about that. But you can find all of this stuff, the tuition and fees. If you live in district, you're going to pay $85 per credit hour. Now, this course is a 4 credit hour course, so your tuition should have run somewhere around $340. To give you an example of, right, somebody wrote you can collect cans and pay the tuition here. If you live out of district, of course, because you're not paying taxes inside the district to ACC, or your parents aren't, or wherever you live, you pay more. And if you're out of state, of course, you pay more. So if you live in district, this is a really good deal. And, there's a lot of talk about student loan debt. But, if you could get a job that might pay you $45,000 a year and all you've invested is $5,000, that's a pretty good investment. And that's not much student loan debt to take on if you just want to pay your tuition by taking out a student loan or something like that. ACC has lots of scholarships. And the great thing about the scholarships at ACC is that you can apply for all the scholarships by clicking on one button at ACC. As you click on that and you submit a single application, and what ACC does is they compare your application with all the available scholarships. The reason I'm bringing that up is that most of these scholarships kick in next fall, and you have to apply for them in the spring semester. So I would recommend going to ACC's website and just searching for scholarships. Another thing you can search for is just the foundation. If you go to the foundation, that's the fundraising group at ACC. They list the scholarships. We have scholarships that are just for our program. Now, I think there's some more information here. T-STEM is a scholarship that can be applied for programs like ours, which is considered science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. Our department qualifies for that. I want to point this one out to you, the Capital Idea. This is not a scholarship. This is a sponsorship. There's an organization in Travis County called Capital Idea. I think they also have one in Williamson County and some of the surrounding counties if you live there. And if you meet the requirements for income, like if you're not making a lot of money, you may meet the requirement for the amount of money that you make to qualify for this. To give you an idea, it's kind of based on household size. So a single person earning less than $2,023 could qualify. That's per month. If you have 3 people in your family, you could earn up to $3,400 a month and qualify. And what this does is it pays for tuition and books. It can help you with gas money. It can help with child care. So this is a really great opportunity. A lot of people don't know about Capital Idea. And so if you just go to capitalidea.org, it's an org, right? So I apologize, this thing's in the way. Capitalidea.org. And the Architectural and Engineering Computer-Aided Design Program at ACC qualifies for this. And you would contact them, and then they will work with you to see if you qualify. If you do qualify, they will help you get your funding in place and help you get your associate degree. Now, if you already have a degree, you can't qualify for this. So if you already have a bachelor's degree in something else, at least the last time I checked, they weren't taking students that already had a degree in something else. There's the Frank Squire Scholarship. This is generally for integrated circuit design students. Tommy Cowan, this is an architectural scholarship. And so I just want to point out there's a lot of funding at ACC. And in fact, often we have more funding than we have students to take it, or you students just don't know about it. So that's why I always try to tell you guys there's a lot of money out there, and you should check And so check the scholarships. Also, you can contact ACC's financial aid department. Any questions? All right, now everything I'm showing you, I'm going to put in Blackboard. So you can go and look at that. I also, like I said, I've got all those advising guides and everything, so you'll be able to look at that. So we're in the last part of today's meeting. That's the ACC policy and procedures that are at the very back of your syllabus. And I'm not going to read all of these. Right now at ACC, you probably can't even get on an ACC campus because, so, you know, unless you're enrolled for a course that actually meets on campus, ACC is making it very difficult for students to come on campus because they don't want anyone to spread COVID-19. I think I read the other day that ACC has not had one case of COVID transmitted on campus, and that's amazing because, you know, there's over like 70,000 students in the ACC district. Now, part of that is because ACC is keeping most people off campus, but we hope to open up soon, and we hope that we can have you over at the Highland campus. That's where Highland Mall used to be, and it's at the corner of 290 and I-35. It's kind of in that area right in there. It'd be the northwest corner. It's a huge, beautiful new campus, and so they took this old mall. They spent millions of dollars, and they got architects to redesign it. We worked with the architects. Our department worked with the architects, and it's really turned out beautiful. And so someday I hope you'll be able to go over there and see it. And it's going to have cafes and restaurants, and it's got apartments around it now. The whole thing, it's going to be like developed. The same people that developed the domain are developing the Highland campus. So it's going to be a really cool thing. All right, so I already talked about academic integrity. That was the policy on, you know, submitting other people's work as your own. I've put in here all of the policies that ACC requires that I put into a syllabus. And I'm not going to take your time and read all those. You should read through all of those and just find out all about this, especially things like student support services. There's a lot of student support services available here at ACC. There's even a food pantry and some other things, especially that have come out because of the COVID-19 thing. So you can get in touch with student services at ACC by going through the website, and you can find out all about what's available to you there. We have a library that's totally online at this point. Student organizations. We even have personal support for you if you're having, you know, you're struggling right now. There's lots of assistance. Here's Central Texas Food Bank, but like I said, we have a food bank at ACC as well. There's even a student money management office. There's just a lot of ways that ACC is trying to help students, especially during this COVID thing. All right. Now, the departmental policies, these are just the ones that apply to our department. They're also at the very end of your syllabus. And they talk about participation and attendance. And I know it's kind of weird because we're all online, but, you know, we really, really strongly recommend that you attend all of these online meetings if you're able. And if you can't attend mine, attend somebody else's online meeting, because you're going to hear something that I don't say from somebody else. And as I said, most people are recording their meetings and posting them, but you can probably only see the video of the person whose class you're enrolled for, okay? So that's just the way the Blackboard is set up. There's a discussion of the withdrawal policy. There's that thing on late work or missing work that we can impose a penalty. This is something that's kind of important. Ownership of student work. Just so you know, most colleges reserve the right to use your work in advertising or anything like that. We always ask our students permission, but those drawings that I showed you from student portfolios, I've asked permission to use all those. So I just want you to know that. But the thing about student work is if we ask you at some point during your time here, we said, that is a great drawing, can we use that? I hope you'll understand that that is a great compliment if somebody asks you if they can use your work, and that you'll let us do that, okay? The other reason why we include this here is that because we teach architecture and we're part of architecture schools programs, we have certain accreditation that we have to meet. And so it's possible that the accrediting board for the architectural program especially could come in and say, we want to see examples of your students' work, and we have to be able to provide that. So we just want to be upfront with you guys. Now, here's the deal. We don't show a lot of DFTG 1405 work to anybody because this is the beginner course. This is more likely to happen later on, okay? And obviously, cell phone and electronic devices are not a problem when we're online unless we can hear your phone ringing. But it's more of a thing in a class, so when we're face-to-face. All right, any questions? Because we're at the point where I'm going to make the assignment and I'm going to show you Blackboard. Okay. All right. Yes. Right. What you do is, and I'll show you this, you're going to go to our website. And when I say that, we're going to go to the department's website, and there is a way for you to ask for a verification letter there. Okay. Now, you should have an ACC ID number. Okay. Because, yeah, as long as you have that and you have an ACC email address, we should be able to get this straightened out, okay? And our tech support guys, we have 4 tech support guys, so they are offering support day and evening. If we really can't get yours straightened out, then we'll try to get one of the tech support guys to work with you, okay? And usually they can work this stuff out. Sure. Yeah, one of the things is that you have to understand that all across the United States right now, there are a lot of students downloading AutoCAD for free and these other products. And so I think Autodesk is sort of swamped right now with just the number of students that are requesting free downloads. And because they're requesting these verification letters, it sometimes gets backed up a little bit. But we don't need CAD for a couple of weeks in this class. We're going to do sketching to start. So, there we go. So somebody got it. I downloaded from yeah. So they accepted your unofficial transcript. That should be good. Yeah. Anyway, I'll show you some more about that here in just a second. And if I forget, just ask me again. Okay, what's next? There are 2 assignments due. Okay. Oh, here's somebody. And Angelica, she is working with Capital Idea and can help you answer questions about that. That's great. Y'all can be good resources for each other. There are 2 assignments due by next class. The next class is on Thursday. All right. And so here's what they are. You're going to log into Blackboard, and you will use your ACC EID number and all that to get logged in. And then we want you to click right here in the left navigation on this link that says Orientation Video and Agreement. When you click on that, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. And you're going to see Orientation Video Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Now, that's what I did today. I went through all these things. The first part was just the first part where I talked about the syllabus. The second part is where I talk about the degrees and the certificates. The last part is that part that I went through fairly quickly that covered the policies and the assignments, okay? It says to watch these videos, but if you attended today's orientation, you don't need to watch those unless you just want to, okay? Now, one thing I do want to point out to you is right over here, you're going to see a link, And that will take you to all of the advising guides for those degrees and certificates that I showed you. Okay, so if you want to be able to see those, you'll be able to open those in the left navigation of Blackboard. After you get to this page right here, like I said, you don't have to watch these if you attended class today. Unless you want to, you can't. You're going to click on this guy right here, which is going to take you to an agreement. And when you click on the agreement, it's going to ask you several questions, and you need to answer the questions. And at the end, there are actually 7 questions, and you're going to press save and submit. All right. When you do that, the orientation agreement is going to come automatically to me through Blackboard. And essentially, it's going to say that you understand what we talked about today in the orientation, that you saw the syllabus and that you understand what's going on, okay? So part of this is to get you involved in the class, to get you doing something and pressing some buttons and actually interfacing with me, right? The second thing you're going to do is you're going to click on the Chapter 1 curriculum link. So the first thing you do is going to be the orientation agreement. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to click on the Chapter 1 curriculum link, and that's going to take you to this page right here. And there is a video that we want you to watch, and you're going to click on this. It's going to take you to the video. We also ask you to read pages 14 through 24 in the textbook. All right. And then we want you to click on this Chapter 1 review test, and you're going to answer the questions that are there, and then at the end pick save and submit, and this is automatically going to go into the gradebook. Now, if you don't have the book yet, instead of reading out of the textbook, what you can do, let me find my mouse again. Here we go. You can click on this PDF right here, and you can read that PDF instead of the textbook. Okay, so that's the second assignment. And I want you to do this by 11 o'clock on Thursday. Okay, so this is the part I was talking about where now it's on you. You're going to go away, and it's up to your own, your ability to, work on your own, self-discipline, all that kind of stuff, and get this done before Wednesday. I would recommend getting it done sooner rather than later. Okay, how do we as a class contact each other separately is in the text window there. That's a good question because, you can share your email addresses in the chat if you want to do that. That could be a start. And then if you guys wanted to create some kind of a study team, we could try to figure out how I could get everybody their email address. Not everyone may want to be a part of it and want to opt into it. So I don't want to send out everyone's email address right now. What I would recommend, though, is that you use the ACC email only. I wouldn't give out your personal email. Plus, like I said, I have to use your ACC email address. So I think that's the safest thing to use. Okay. All right. So if anybody wants to put it in there, also you can email me after class, and you can say, hey, I want to reach out to somebody, and then I can email them and say, hey, is it okay if I give your email out or whatever? Okay. Yeah. Blackboard email function works too. All right. So those are the 2 assignments. So do the orientation agreement, and then read Chapter 1 and submit the Chapter 1 review test. All right. Now, I want to go to Blackboard now and show you what that looks like. Okay, when you log into Blackboard, this is what you should see. Let me turn that off. As I said, when you log in, you will see the left navigation right over here. If you haven't looked at this yet, it starts here at this Welcome to DFTG 1405. And that's going to talk to you about the technology requirements and the software requirements and all those sorts of things over here. All right. And so if you haven't read through this already, you know, this is what I included in that email that I sent out to you that I ask everybody to reply back to. If you just want to see the syllabus, you can click on this. If you need my information, if you need to get in touch with me, you can just click on instructor information. If you want to see the orientation video and the agreement, you can click right here. But for you guys who are looking to download AutoCAD 2021, you see where it says download links? If you click on download links, it says click here to install AutoCAD 2021, and it's going to lead you through the process, okay? And this is where it talks about getting that verification letter and getting that request put in. Click this button on the Verify You're a Student to request the student verification letter. This is what you'll need to send to Autodesk to prove you're a student. Okay. Now, when we say send it, you're just going to email it to them or attach it to something that they've got. You're not going to actually like put postage on a letter and send it to them. You should also look at home folder management, because here's what we're going to recommend that you do. Each student is given a Google Drive at ACC. We're given some space in Google. And so what we recommend is that you use a tool called Google Drive File Stream and set this up on your home computer. And so that you're actually saving all of your work on the cloud in a Google Drive. And you're the only person who can get to the stuff that's in the Google Drive unless you right click on a file or a folder and say, I want to share that with someone. You could share it with me if you wanted to, and I can see your work. At the end of the semester, you may share your Google Drive or the folder that you put all your drawings into with our tech support team, and then they will copy everything from your Google Drive and they'll save it on our server so that later, if you needed to get access to it, you'd be able to do that. But click on this link here and read about home folder management. And this was written by our tech support guys, okay? Now, when you create a drawing, you're going to save the drawing out as a PDF, as an Adobe PDF. And so I'm going to mark it up as a PDF rather than as a drawing. When I say mark it up, I'm going to mark it up digitally, probably. So when I send it back to you, in order to read it, you'll have to have at least have Adobe Reader. But ACC has a special deal with Adobe. And if you click on this right here, you can see how to download the entire Adobe Creative Cloud for $10. And I believe this is good for 1 year once you click on that. So you're going to have Adobe Acrobat, but you're going to have all the creative suite of tools that Adobe has, and it only costs you $10. I wish it were free, but it's not. So anyway, you do qualify because you're enrolled in this class, though, to get this for $10. Okay, so Adobe Acrobat Reader is free. If you want the Adobe Acrobat, full-blown Acrobat, where you can edit PDFs and do all that kind of stuff, you'll need to get Adobe Acrobat. Okay, and you can get that for $10 right here. Now, AutoCAD will allow you to print it says AutoCAD PDF, and so that's what we'll be printing, are AutoCAD PDFs, but they behave just like normal PDFs, and so that's what you'll actually be submitting to me as a PDF. What I'm going to do, I'm going to open your drawings. At least my plan right now is I'm going to use a software called Bluebeam. Bluebeam is used in industry by architects and engineers when they want to mark up a set of drawings. And so we got an educational license for our program, and so our faculty are going to try to grade your drawings this semester using kind of this industry standard thing called Bluebeam. And so when we save it, it's going to be saved as a PDF, and when we send it back to you, it will be a PDF. So you'll need to have a way that you can view a PDF. All right. Okay, let's see what else we have over here that, so all of the stuff you're seeing right here, this is an important page, is right here in download links. Okay. Due dates. Right now it says nothing is due, but actually you do have a due date that I can go in and add here, and that's going to be that you do the orientation agreement and you do the chapter 1 questions and submit those by Thursday. Okay. AutoCAD advising, if you click on that, this is where you can get all of those advising agreements that I showed you. So if you want to see that entire PDF with all our degrees and all our certificates, you can pick here. If you just want to see the architectural CAD degree or the certificate, you can pick on this. If anybody's interested in seeing just the architecture degree, remember this is not architectural CAD, you would pick on this one right here. If you want to see all of them, you click on this one right here. Now, what we did last semester is we showed our students a list of courses they can enroll for after DFTG 1405. This was to help students plan for what they might take this semester, but you guys could look at it and you could be thinking about this for courses you might take in the summer or that you might take next fall. These are all the courses that you can take that require DFTG 1405. These courses down here, which for the most part are architecture courses and a couple of electronics courses, do not require DFTG 1405. If you want to join the live meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays, there is a link right here that will take you to the live meeting. Okay, so you don't have to remember what it is. You just need to log into Blackboard and click right there. Oh, it looks like I need to change that time. It says 9 instead. I need to change that to 11. Now, reason for that is we had one person who's copying all this for all the faculty, and everybody needs to go in and kind of customize theirs. So I need to go in and change that time. You can schedule one-on-one appointments. The recorded class meetings are here. So you can see in class 1, those are all the things I talked about today. Those are in recorded class meetings. Get Help Now, that's the tutor link. And you'll have to log in your Google account to get to there. And we have a 1405 YouTube channel. We have command aliases. What those are a command alias is this. When you're using AutoCAD, you can pick on the line command icon. There's an icon for the line command, or you can type L and press enter. That's an alias. So a lot of the commands have aliases. So we have a PDF for that. So there's just all kinds of information that you're going to be able to access. When we get to the capstone projects, they will be visible down here. Now, like I said, right now, all you can see is chapter 1. I'm going to scroll up here and change the view a little bit. As we go through the semester, you'll be able to see chapter 2 and 3 and 4 and so on like that. So you can see that's how the curriculum is going to roll out. So after chapter 1, which you can see now, we'll be working on chapter 2 starting on Thursday, and that's what you'll be working on over the weekend. Okay, so I'm going to go back up here. So when I click on this, this is the view that you see, is right here. A second ago, I was showing you the view that I see, which shows everything that I can turn off or on. Okay. Have I forgotten anything?